Welcome everybody. It's a new week, so you know it's a brand new video. I'm MDC, the MDC here in MDCRX, and your friendly neighborhood pharmacist. And if you have followed me on Instagram, you would have known that I did a live session last night. It was under the theme Light, Jamaica Blue. It's in line with the theme that the UN has for this week, basically honoring our frontline workers. You know, that includes healthcare staff, food people, our sanitation workers, or like firefighters, and so on, you know, frontline workers. So I saw that initiative and I thought it was a good idea to say, hey, let me just jump on a live and just, you know, big up some workers that are in the frontline classification that people might not think about, along with the popular ones like your doctors and your pharmacists and so on. And honestly, I think the live went well, if I should say so myself, if I can say so myself. The live went very well, but there was a part of it that I really want everyone to, well, as much people to see as possible. There was a part where I was doing interviews with the various people of the different frontline factions. So like you had someone who's a janitor, someone who's in fast food, someone who is a principal, so that's education sector, and then you have healthcare. That's basically what I did, and I just had many interviews with each of them and shared it in the live session, and I really want to share those interviews with y'all. So it's gonna go in the order of Miss Gardia Davis-Myers, who's a janitor at Sunshine Pharmacy, Mr. Alston Esmie, who's assistant manager at Maypen Popeyes, Mr. Christie, who is the principal of Kellett High School, Miss Chantel Tomlin, who is a pharmacy technician at Sunshine Pharmacy, and Dr. Winsome Christie, who is the clinical pharmacist at Sunshine Pharmacy and also the president of the PSG, Pharmaceutical Society of Jamaica. So I'm just gonna run the interviews for y'all to listen to. I really like them, and it just gives you a little insight into the different type of frontline workers and their different experiences. So sit back and enjoy them.
Okay, well, my name is Mrs. Gardia Davis-Myers. I'm working at Sunshine Pharmacy.
So, as a frontline worker, what's your experience? What has your experience been in the COVID pandemic period?
Well, as a frontline worker, being in the COVID, what I try to do, I try to wash my hands as often as possible, wear my mask, sanitize, and I try to take up my vitamins to boost up my immune system in case if I catch the virus, my immune system will be strong enough so that I can fight back.
At any time in the pandemic, did you feel scared about having to work while it's happening?
Yes, at first when it just came in, I was very scared. Even to drive in the taxi with other passengers, I used to be scared. But after a while, it not really bother me like that before, you know.
Okay,
I
so
just try to keep myself safe.
Okay, and how you feel about, you live with people at home?
Yes.
Yes. How did you feel about having to come to work and being possibly exposed and then going home to them? How did that make you feel?
Well, what I try to do when I come to work and like to go home, I try not to go inside with the same shoes and my clothes. I try to get rid of my clothing like from outside, get rid of them, put them one side and try to have a shower.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, good. Alright, so how you feel whenever the Jamaican government or the media just tries to honor frontline workers? How does that make you feel as a frontline essential worker?
Well, sometimes I don't really feel too good.
You
know, sometimes I don't really feel too good how them treat frontline workers.
Okay. How you think them probably treat you better?
Well, first of all, they work very hard.
Yes.
And I believe the government should step up and like the peer and try to encourage them more. Yeah, because as old time people would say, encouragement sweet labor.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right. So,
Treat them fairly, make them feel good. Even though they don't work hard, try to feel, you know, deal with them fairly. Because many times you hear them cry out, them work so hard, get tired, and them not get what they're supposed to get. Them wages not right. Right.
Alright, thank you so much, Ms. Gardia.
Okay, you're welcome.
Have a good shift.
Okay, and you too.
Thank you.
Okay, bye, you're welcome.
All right, everyone. So we're joined here by Mr. Alston Esmie. He is the assistant manager at Popeyes Maypen. Thank you for joining us tonight, Mr. Esmie. And I just want to hit you with this first question. What has your experience been since this pandemic hit you?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. And
Sure thing.
since the pandemic came into place, the first thing it actually hit was the sales for business because, everybody was in this form of mass hysteria, mass panic mode.
Yeah.
So persons were afraid to come out, and um, it really took a hit for the business. Um, Also, it affected majority of persons in terms of work because we had to cut staff and reduce hours just the same.
Oh dear. That does sound heavy. How was it?
Sorry.
No, it's cool. How was it knowing that you were probably that before or well after the place was more open and people can actually come in the restaurant in person? How was it knowing that you were being exposed or potentially exposed to this deadly disease?
Well, it was an initial shock because like we're still getting information on what the virus was about, how it was transmitted, and in the initial stages, like they were saying that it was airborne, it can be transmitted, you have to be 5 feet, and there are a lot of mystery around it. So what we had to do was get informed. We had to inform our staff members as well, and we had to make preparations and provisions for better safety for ourselves and the customers coming in. So we had to um, install sanitation stations, continuously cleaning and sanitizing the most frequent areas, specifically the doorknobs, entrances, the seats, the walls, and we had to limit our dining just the same because, social distancing was imminent.
Okay. And how was it knowing that you live with people, right, at home?
I do actually,
Yes.
yes.
How is it knowing that you might have come into contact with this virus and then going home to your loved ones?
It was actually a great concern because my mom and my father, my parents were up in age. I do have a younger brother who is asthmatic, and that is that was like one of my biggest concerns.
Yeah, that
So
must have been
in
terrifying for
interacting,
you.
actually, it was really concerning because at the time I was actually using public transport, and um, each and every time I came in, or what I had to do because it was now the new rule of the house, like it doesn't we shouldn't we tried not to come in the house with the shoes from outside. We tried to sanitize as we come in. So the entrance of our home, we actually had sanitizers and we actually had wipes that we used to clean our shoes, and we tried to get rid of most of our clothes prior to going inside of the house. So the overlays, like a shirt and pants, we took it off, and then we came inside, brought everything that we wore from outside to our washroom because, slight panic and concern for transmission.
Yeah, I definitely can see why it would be of great concern for you because you have most of the people in your family, well, I guess all of them being a part of the vulnerable population. You have your parents who you said are up in age, and then you have a brother that has that
It's
comorbidity of asthma. So I
right.
definitely understand why you'd be terrified. All right, let's just throw you one last question, Mr. Esme. Do you, as a frontline worker, feel appreciated by, I guess, the general public media? Do you feel appreciated as a frontline worker?
Um, there are moments because I do think that there are some customers who are aware that we are out there every day because since the pandemic, I have been working since because as a manager, they're not gonna just lay me off or but
Yeah.
we are still interacting with a lot of persons on a daily basis. We try to manage the flow and the crowds because we still have the social distance policies inside the sanitation policies.
Yeah, trust me, I see it every time. Every time I go over to Popeyes, shh, don't tell anybody. But yeah, definitely see it being enforced. Yeah, trust me.
It is a challenge because as we know, people are not necessarily open to change, and it is uncomfortable. So in some instances, customers will kind of vent their frustration on us. However, there are other customers who understand, and the majority who understand that this is necessary and this is something that we're going to have to live with for quite a while. So they are more understanding. Some of them actually make you feel appreciated because they do know that you're out there consistently on a daily basis trying to provide a service for them. So you do have both the pros and cons, but I try to focus on the pros because, like, you know, it does give you a sense of appreciation when a customer treats you or says something to you that actually helps your day out, because, you know, you are still out there working and trying to be safe and still providing a service for the general public.
Exactly. And I could not have said it better myself, because it definitely does help when you have at least that one customer that comes in and makes your day just brighter and better. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Mr. Esmie, and sharing your experience.
No problem. I really do appreciate you having me here, and keep up the good work. You've been doing great.
Thank you, and have a great night, all right?
Absolutely, you too.
Thank you. All right, so we're here with Mr. Texel Christie. So tell us, what is your experience? What has your experience been in the COVID pandemic period as a principal of the Kelly's High School?
Well, it has been one of uncertainties, plans, replan, and plan again. So it has been very difficult, but we try to stick as closely as possible to all the protocols that are set out by the Ministry of Health, and we continue to work with the guidelines given to us by the Ministry of Education. So despite the difficulties of virtual and online learning and teaching, we continue. But it's difficult, especially for these children. It's very hard. And the results recently from CSEC and Cape have proven that.
How have the teachers been reacting to the changes being implemented during the time?
There are some teachers who catch on, and the technology, they're comfortable with it. But there are some teachers who are not comfortable with it. And some even go to the point of resigning because they're not coping with the whole situation. And to compound that, the whole surrounding, because they not only have students at school, but their own students at home, and relatives and friends to deal with. So it's very hard.
It's definitely challenging. And how the students, I mean, you did say it does reflect in the CSEC grades and so on, but otherwise, how the students been coping?
Well, with the students, it has been very difficult for them. There are some students who are very determined and they will do well. But for the students, especially those who are what we call slow learners, they prefer to have the teachers that they can speak with them, interface with them, ask them questions. They don't do that as much with the online virtual classes because they are not as confident and comfortable, so they will not do as well.
Okay. All right, thank you so much for your experiences and for sharing those with us. So I'm just going to ask you one last question. Being a part of the education sector, do you feel appreciated as a frontline worker? Do you feel like teachers and principals and so on in the education sector, do you feel like they're appreciated as frontline workers?
I think they're appreciated. Well, the truth is, I don't think persons might see us as frontline workers, but we are appreciated. The parents and so forth, other stakeholders who work with us, they do appreciate the work that we are putting in, and I think. But I don't think they see us as frontline workers.
Yeah, that needs to change because, well, you guys are on the front line, and you definitely have to teach the future of Jamaica. So
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
But yeah, thank you so much for joining us on this interview today, Mr. Christie.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So tell us, Ms. Tomlin, what is your experience being a frontline essential worker in this pandemic period?
Okay, initially when the virus first came out, I was very scared, and I mean it was very tiring because a lot of patients or customers were coming in rushing for vitamins, hand sanitizers, alcohol. So the entire population was afraid. So as days went by and I became more informed about the virus, I was able to adjust. So I was able to practice my properly wearing of my mask, which that was very hard. Regularly washing my hands properly, and just practicing social distances as I had to take public transportation to and from work and to other places. So yeah.
You live with people at home, right?
Yes, I did.
Did you ever feel scared knowing that you might be exposed to it and you might carry it home or something?
Yes, that was another issue. So what I did really was I tried not to mingle a lot with persons at home. As I went home, I would try to get home and then head straight to the bathroom. Of course, I had to cool off first because I didn't want to get sick. So I cooled off first, then went to the bathroom, had my shower, and then yeah.
No, do you, as a frontline worker, as a pharmacy technician, do you feel appreciated by the general public, I should say?
Well, by the general public, I would say yes, by patients.
By patients.
Yeah.
So the patients come up and say, oh,
Yes,
stop.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah, all right. So thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for being a part of this interview, all right?
Thank you.
Bye. So what has your experience been as a frontline worker during the COVID pandemic?
Well, as a frontline worker, you have to be fearless, you have to be courageous, and at the same time, ensuring that you keep yourself safe, and also using the COVID-19 protocols, ensure the safety of your customers. So my objective during the COVID-19 pandemic was to educate the patients and clients as much as possible about the best ways they can prevent contracting the illness, and if they do contract the illness, how they can survive it, best ways to deal with it if they do have the illness, the use of the testing facilities, the fact that they need to get vaccinated. All of these educational approaches were what I tried to do as a pharmacist during this pandemic, while at the same time trying to, as a business owner, trying to ensure that my business survives during this critical time. So we ensured that during the hours that we're permitted to be open, we maximized our services. We tried to ensure that we had essential items, hard to get drugs, so that clients' needs could be satisfied. Also, for those drugs that were being given emergency approval, we would have to ensure that we're educated about them so that we can provide accurate, up-to-date information to the clients when they ask questions as to why is this one not on our market, or why can't we get this one, or questions like that would arise, and also be knowledgeable about the new developments, the new vaccines, which ones were safe, why were there so many false stories about them, so that persons can make educated choices when they needed to be vaccinated. So it was I found it a little pressuring, because you had to keep up to date with this fast moving, fast changing information on the COVID-19 pandemic and the drugs and the vaccines, and trying to keep your customers calm and helping them to deal with the lockdown and all the other stresses that's brought on by the pandemic, in addition to maintaining your health. As professionals, we have to look after ourselves so that we can then look after others. And with all the fear that's arisen during the pandemic, we have to try and allay the fear for ourselves and then help others to allay their fear, because prolonged fear, stress, all of these things cause a loss of connectedness and causes mental health issues. So it was really quite a challenge, I found, to keep up with what you needed to do as a professional to be on top of everything.
Okay, all right, thank you for that wonderful take on it. So let me ask you this question: do you feel appreciated as a frontline worker? Whenever you see us being honored or just mentioned in the media, so on, how do you feel when
I feel good.
you feel good?
And
You feel like we are, as frontline workers, we are appreciated?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think because as PSJ president, I think the current executive has done a marvelous job in being out there. We supported the government in its effort to get the professionals fully vaccinated, and so we began with our own. We set up parish heads so that we could spearhead the vaccination process for each parish. And so after that first initial effort, more than 60% of our pharmacists were vaccinated. And then to see when the Prime Minister goes on TV and mention us without any hesitation as frontline workers, as places that can be kept open because we are essential workers, you just feel proud of yourself and of the profession. And so yes, I do think we're appreciated by the people of Jamaica, and also we are appreciated among our colleagues too, and other professionals recognize us too.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much for joining me on my interview, Dr. Christie. Thank you for giving us a time. Okay, all right.
You are welcome.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me on your show.
Alright, so that's it for the video, everybody. Thank you for watching, and if you joined the live, thank you so much for joining the live. Don't forget to hit subscribe, the like button, and leave a comment. So leave a comment. If there's any frontline workers that you want to big up in there, probably a front desk person, probably a firefighter, just leave it down in the comment. And don't forget to just tell a frontline worker that thank you. Just tell them thank you for their work, because trust me, when they're on a bed asleep, well, somehow, and when they're home and do remote work, we have to be out and about in a corona and a work. So yeah, thank you so much for watching the video. Come back next week for a brand new video.